Alrighty, guys, this is snugsonblitz, and I'm back on another video for you today. I just got back, and I saw that the auctions, or I should say week 2 of the Christmas auctions has begun just about an hour and 30 minutes ago. As you can see, we've got a whole new batch of tanks on the screen here. Unfortunately, it's not the entire list of the second week's tanks. As you know, Wargame will be adding 2 tanks, or maybe more than that sometimes, um, for the first 3 days, I guess it is, of the auction. So we won't know the full list for 3 days. But since this list has dropped, I thought I should share my thoughts on what prices I would pick up these tanks at, if at all. So let's get to it. I don't want to waste any time. You can, you know, like this video, hate this video, do all that stuff. I'm not going to spend any more time. I just want to get this done for you guys and then hit the hay, as they say. Anyway, Emil 1951. What can I say? It's a pretty competitive tier 8 tank. Is it OP? No. If you're looking for an OP tank, this is not for you. But is it competitive? Yes. It's decently fast. It's got a solid gun. What would be a fair price? I think because it's an auction, I think around 6.5k is the price I'd be looking at picking up this tank. 6k would be better, but I don't think it'll get lower than that. I think people will start picking it up around that price. So just keep your eye on that tank. Moving on to the Object 260. I'm surprised to see this here. It was in the summer auctions as well. I'm surprised they're, shoving it back in so soon, but I guess they need some tanks to fill in the spots. Last year they only did 41 tanks. This time they're doing 50 tanks, so I'm missing 9 slots that I couldn't account for. So here we go. Here's one of them. It's a tier 10 tank. What can I say? It's a tank I liked before the buff, or the change, I should say. The buff to its armor is not as good as the speed, in my opinion. I miss its speed. It's still a solid tier 10 tank, but I would say it's just middle of the range, or maybe near the bottom, unfortunately, for most players. So I don't think I'd be picking this up until it hits around 10k, 10 or 11k maybe. I can't remember what price I paid for it, but I did wait until I think the last day of the auctions in the summer because nobody wanted it. And I'm expecting that to be the case with the Christmas auction as well. So just keep an eye on it if that's the tank you want, but I don't think it's going to sell out. Talking about not selling out, well, this tank, the Predator Ultramarines, this tank is definitely not selling out. Why? Because nobody likes it. Nobody wants it. Nobody plays it. They keep shoving it in, trying to sell it, and no. I mean, this tank against tier 6 tanks, yeah, it's strong. Against tier 8 tanks, it's absolute pants. And this tank stinks. It's huge. It can be panned by nearly everything. The armor doesn't really work. The gun is pretty solid, so you can dish out the damage, but yeah. No, no, no. And even at 5k, I can say, heck no. What would be a fair price for this tank? 2k, I guess? 2.5, somewhere around there. It's not a tank I would want to pick up. I'd definitely get the Dragon, the Type 62, in the previous week's auction over this tank any day of the week and twice on Friday. So no, no, no. I do not see this selling out at all. But the T-22 medium is one of those tanks that everybody has wanted. It's recently received a buff to its armor, so it's even more troll than it once was. It's back to where it used to be when it first came into the game. In that sense, the gun is a little bit iffy, but it is a much better tank than the Object 260, if you ask me. I think 12k, that's the price that would be fair, because it's just an older premium tank, and a lot of people have it already. I mean, it sold out a while ago. I think there were a ton of them that time. So with only 3k tanks this time, I think people will start trying to snatch this up if they didn't have it when it hits around 12k. I mean, if you can get under 12k, great. It's a very competitive tier 10 tank. Not the easiest to play for newer players, but I mean, the armor will get you out of trouble a lot of times. And what else do we have? We have 3 other tanks. The Compounds, the 70, way overpriced. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it's the original premium tier 9 tank. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it's the first one that was shoved in tier 9. And at first it was, you had to earn it, and then it was given away in charms and things like that. But it's been in the auctions for a while now. I picked it up a while back, or I think I won this. No, I think I picked up an auction a while back. It was a good price. So 10K, that's way overpriced. I'm thinking you've got to be paying maximum 8K for this. I mean, tomorrow it's only going to drop by 250. Pff, forget that. Yeah, it's still a competitive tank, though. That's the one thing I will say about this tank, as well as the T-22. They can do the business on the battlefield. The gun is very solid on the Compounds of 70. I really like this tank. I took it out, and I expected it to be kind of pants, but nope. No. This tank is, yeah, it could dish out the damage. I mean, you've got a big gun, so you pop on up, shoot, and back on up. It's a pretty simple play style. It's like playing a tank destroyer, but a mobile one. Um, I really like this tank, actually, to be fair. I don't think it's great for newer players because it's got such a long reload, or quite a long reload. But I mean, yeah, I think it's a good tank. So at 8K, I think you're getting a very competitive tank on the battlefield. It's a tier 9 tank. It's one worthy of a place in your garage. If you can get it under 8K, that's great. But um, it's not a popular tank, so I don't think this will sell for a while. So you might as well wait. But 250, come on, Wargaming, are you kidding me? I'm talking about the drop in price tomorrow. Pathetic. Anyway, the last two tanks on our list, we have the AMX Canon, which is another tank I predicted in my video that I put up a few weeks ago. Yeah, 7K. Now we're talking a tier 8 tank. That's not a bad price for a tier 8 tank, but it's not the newest, it's not the strongest, it's not the best. It's a poor man's WZ-120 GFT, if you ask me. I would say 5K. If you could pick this up for 5K, that's a very decent price. As you can see, already 600 of them have been sold. So well, I say that, I don't know how many it started with. So it could be Wargame doing a little bit of sneaky. Maybe only 50 tanks or 70 tanks have been sold. I don't know. Either way, if there's a tank you want, I would say wait until it gets down to 5.5 or 5K before picking this up. It might be a good deal at that price. Let's hope Wargaming drops it down 500 per day, but I somehow doubt that. Who knows? And the Defender T-28, which is much older than the AMX Canon, is surprisingly more expensive. I guess it's just a more competitive tank. I think what they've tried to do this time is tanks that are more competitive have higher prices. So the 3 shells make it pretty strong. The armor works. It is a little bit slow. I like this tank. If I had to say what would be a fair price for this, it's a little bit old. 7.5 is way overpriced. I mean, you can pick up a much newer tank in the store sometimes on special deals for this price. So that's ridiculous for me. I'm thinking this would be 5.5K as a buy for me. I think this is slightly better than the AMX. In fact, quite a bit better for most players, just because it's a simple play style. The armor works. You won't get in trouble with your speed. The gun, 3 shells. Yeah, just peek on out, shoot, get back into cover. The AMX is a little bit of a sneakier tank to play, so I think it's harder for most people. So, what tanks would I recommend today? Honestly, I think the best tier 8, if you're looking for a tier 8, would be the Emil, actually. But at this price, no. So I would wait, as I said, until it gets down to around 6K, and then I would say it's a buy. If you're looking for a tier 10, I mean, you can't go wrong with T22, but just not at this price. Wait, be patient. If this gets down to 13K, you might start see them moving faster, but I would still try and wait to see if it can drop down to 11K. Then I would say it's 12, 11K, around there. That would be a pretty good price. If you get it for 11K, hey, lucky you. Compounds of 70. As I said, I like this tank. I really like this tank. If I was going to choose any tank on this list, for a newer player, I think it's got to be the Emil 1951, actually. For someone who's been in the game and likes a hard-hitting tank, I'd actually go for the Compounds of 70. I think it's a really good tank. But if you don't have the T22, I mean, that's probably the number 1 pick here, just because it's a classic tank. It's the first snow globe tank that Wargaming just put in, and people were like, whoa. Yeah, it's not the easiest of tanks for newer players, so don't think that just because you get this tank, it's just going to be easy to just wreck your opponents. You will get wrecked if you don't know what you're doing in any tank. Remember that. So I always think the simpler the play style, the slower the play style is probably easier. And so for newer players, I'd probably go for the T28 Defender. It's a solid tank. It's got 3 shells. Armor works, yes. Um, Emil 1951, probably second place. Those 2 tanks. So um, those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Are there any tanks that interest you in this batch? For me, sadly, I have, well, 5 of these. I'm missing 2. One of them is the Predator Ultramarines for obvious reasons. And I don't have the Canon. I might consider it if it drops down, but I'm not a huge fan of this tank. Just it's okay, So anyway, I'm gonna look forward to seeing what other tanks will be appearing tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and the day after that. So let's wait and see. And so far, I haven't been able to put any of my gold to use in these auctions, which is a little bit of a shame. I'm looking for some tanks, but they haven't appeared yet. If you're wondering which tanks I am waiting for, you're going to laugh, but I would love to see the Lands of the Sea, and I do expect it to appear sooner or later. Why do I want it? I don't know why. I just think it kind of looks cool. I know it's silly. It's not a tank I would recommend for anybody, but that's a tank I'd like to pick up. And I'm hoping the AMX M454, again, not a tank I would recommend for newer players particularly, but I just want in my garage. Tungsten shells, yes please. So fingers crossed that will appear in the last batch, I think. And yeah, maybe another tank will pop up that I've been interested in. But the 2 tanks or the 1 tank I'm really interested in is a Charlemagne. I do not think that will show up at all for another 6 months, which is a shame. But that's the breaks. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. Sorry, it went on a little bit of a rant there, but I do this for you to help you out. So I'll see you later on because I got another video coming. Snugs on Blitz.